and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to do the Christmas wreath. We are going to start as usual with our slip knot. If you don't know how to do a slip knot, I have a full tutorial for you of how to do it in different ways. And we're going to start with our chains. Again, if you don't know how to do chains, I have a full tutorial as well ready for you to watch it in a slow motion so you learn how to make them. We're going to make 10 chains. Once we finish with our chains, we are going to connect them. How? We're gonna put the first chain and we are gonna slip stitch on the last one. That's the way how we create our flat circle or our magic ring. Again, I have a full tutorial for you of how to do this one as well for multiple projects. Let's continue to do round one, which means we are gonna do 2 chains. And then we're going to start doing the US single crochet or the UK double crochet. That means you're going to introduce your hook inside the circle in the center. You're going to pull your yarn. You have 2 loops in your hook. You're going to yarn over and then you're going to pull again. You're going to repeat this for 19 times because the first chain, the one that we are using right now to close our first row, that one counts as well as 1 stitch. So you should have 20 stitches at the end of this. It's really important because for round 2, which is our last round, that matters. How we're going to do round 2 is we are going to chain 3. Why? Because right now we are moving to the next type of stitches, which they are the US half double crochet and the UK half treble crochet. This one is going to be a repetition of patterns. So after we chain 3, you're going to yarn over, go inside the same stitch where you create that chains. You have 3 loops on your hook, and then you're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's your way of how to do these new stitches. Again, now we're going to go to the second one and we're going to go back and we're going to do the US single crochet and the UK double crochet. So you are doing a repetition between US double crochets and UK treble crochets and the US single crochet and the UK's double crochet. I know it's really confusing, but basically it's 2 of the big ones in the same stitch and then 2 of the small ones on the second stitch in different separate stitches. So you have 2 bigs together, 2 stitches of 1 each of the small ones. Repeat all of these along the entire project. I hope I'm not confusing you and this video is more than clear because all the different terminologies can make the repetitions a little bit hard to explain. But as I say, 2 of the doubles and then 2 of the single ones, the smallest ones, you do it in 2 different stitches. Repeat all of these, all the project along, and then what is it going to happen when you come to the end, when you've done the last stitch, which is the half double crochet in the US and the half treble crochet on the UK, you're going to find yourself that you haven't have 2 left, you only have 1 left, so you're going to do only 1 of the small ones and then you're going to connect your project with the first chain stitches that we did before. You're going to go to the highest stitch and then you're going to do a slip knot over there. Okay, once we come here, we are going to do the hook of our Christmas wreath, and what we're going to do is on the same way without cutting as we did in previous project, we're going to chain 20. Once we chain 20, we're going to go back to that first stitch where we started and we're going to do a slip knot. I recommend you because this one is attached to the project and it can get quite loose and looks a little bit not really nicely, let's say. Pull that yarn quite tight from the back so you make sure that last stitch that you're doing, that slip stitch, it gets quite tight over there. Once you're done, you're going to chain 1, you're going to cut off the ends, hide it away, and you will be absolutely done. Now comes the moment of do our bow. The way to do the bow is I'm going to use a 2.5 millimeter. This yarn that I have, the red one, calls for a 3, but I found when I used a 3, it was quite loose and quite ugly, and it's a really, really small bow, so you need to make sure it gets as tight as possible. How are you going to start this is again with a slip knot as at the beginning. and then we're going to chain 6 plus 1. What this means is we're chaining 6, but the extra chain that we're doing counts as 1 stitch on the next row we're doing. And then we are going to go through the entire project doing the US single crochet or the UK double crochet. What does that mean? That we're going to end up with 6 stitches, because the first one that we did as the chain counts as 1. Once we do the 6 of them, which again is 5 actually, we are going to chain 1, we're going to flip our project, and we're going to do a second round of stitches on the same way. So our bow is basically made out of 2 rows. You cannot do it any bigger because the Wreath is not big enough to give you space for anything bigger again. That first chain that you have done is count as 1 stitch. So you will have to do 5 stitches. I know again it's really small, it's quite tricky, but make sure you do your 5 stitches. Found the one that we create with the chain before, do not forget that one, and you will be kind of done with how this bow looks. The way to close it down will be do 1 chain, cut it off, pull it over, and then you will create a knot. I will suggest you that because we're in a really small project and it's really easy to just mess it up and lose it around, that you pull both of the ends quite tight, so you make sure that that knot gets well tight and well secure. Again, the tails are really long, so just hide them a little bit inside the project to make sure you don't lose your ends, and then chop half of it and hide it away. Now we're gonna take a little bit of our yarn, and we are gonna start twisting it around that chains that we've done. We are gonna fold them in half to create the bow, and then we're going to start rolling this extra yarn around. Help with your fingers, start creating the bow shape. As I say, it's not as a big bow where it's just easy and it has a shape. This one you have to create it with your own fingers. Once you are happy with how tight it is and how secure it is, do 1 or 2 knots so you make sure that that extra yarn that you have used is secure on the center. And then we're going to move back to our green project, our Wreath. And then over there, you're going to look for the center of the stitches. And then we're going to sew this bow together with it. Honestly, once I see it this way, I really like it as well. The idea of just sew it over there and leave these strings loosened down. It looks really cute. But we're not going to do that for the finish of this project. If you want to and you want to do this, you will have to take extra yarn to sew your bow to the first project, okay? Otherwise, as you can see, I'm using myself, I'm helping myself with the yarn needle, and I'm pulling both of the ends back. You're going to start doing some knots on the back to secure it. Don't pull really tight, because otherwise you're pulling the bow and you're going to see that the bow start losing a little bit of the shape. But secure enough to make sure it's in place. And then what I've done as well is I sew the corners of the bow. I started on the same center where I put the first yarns, and I always go back in there, so I make sure I don't create a big mess of red yarns on the back. Personally, I like to keep my projects as neat as possible. And yes, it is a different color of yarn, but that doesn't mean we need to create a multiple strings of red yarn on the back just because it's the back, okay? You still can see it, and whoever you gift this or you sell this for, they will be able to see it. So just try to keep it nice and neat at all times. Again, help yourself with your fingers as much as you can to shape that little bow. Once you're happy about it, do a couple of knots over there. Just make sure you keep it tight. And once everything secured, take again your scissors and cut off the ends. Don't leave any strings loosen around or anything on the way. And as you can see, we are done. I really hope you like this project. And if you do, give us a huge thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget to come back, because I have few more projects for this Christmas that I want to share with you, and I see you on the next one. Bye now.